Okay, we're on problem number 9. And number 9, again, we're given a lot of information that we need to analyze and answer the question according to how it's being asked. The population of a city is a function of time. Now, this table shows the population of Grover's Corner every 20 years. I'm assuming this is a city somewhere, starting at 1900, the year 1900. And then what we see here is a table. I'm going to go ahead and write that table. It's going to be important for us to take a look at this. And we have the year, and then we have the population, which I'm just going to abbreviate as POP. Okay, and in 1900, we had 205 in Grover's Corner. Okay, pretty small town. But in 1920, it increased to 372. Then in 1940, it increased to 620. And then in 1960, it increased to 8,145. Okay, so the town grew from 205 to 8,145. Now, the first question is, what can you conclude from this table? Well, I know that's a very general question, and I think the only answer we come up with is that, well, time is moving forward, right? And we know that, so that's probably not the answer. But that we're seeing that the population is increasing. Okay, it went from 205 to 372 to 620 up to 8,145. So the answer to the first problem is fairly simple. What we observe here is that it's increasing. Now, the second question is, do you think that there's a formula for this function? Now, we would have to analyze the data a little more, not just that it's increasing, but we need to understand what's the relationship uh, between the first row and the second row. So if I were to just take a look here and say, is there a formula? I'd have to determine first, like, are there intervals here that we can at least gauge some sort of standard by? And the interval is actually 20 years. It's plus 20. We went plus 20 here, and we went plus 20 more, and we went plus 20 more. So we actually added, again, this is for the year. And this is just a simple analysis. This isn't a cookie cutter way of answering any question. It's just you taking information and analyzing it from what you see. So, if we started at 0, we added 20 years. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and change this and simply state that from the point of 0, we actually increased. I'm going to change this. Okay, we know that it went 20, 20, 20, but if we were to say this is point 0, or the 0, the beginning, this number would be 20. Now this would be 40 from 0, and this would be 60, right? 60 years have gone by. So the question is, what's the difference? What's going on? Is there a function here? Is there something that relates to from this number to this number? If we were to say that this was 205 and this is 372 and this is 620 and this is 8,145, can we come up with a function here? And it would really take quite a bit of analysis. Maybe a computer module could help us, but just us taking a raw look at this information, we can see that from here to here we increased 20, but what was the population increase? Well, the population increase would have been 100 and, let's see, 67. Right, so we went up 167 over here. Okay, so if we add 167 to 205, they added 167 people. We now have 372. But now 20 years passed again, and if there were at least some function that we might be able to see, we'd see, wow, it's another 167. If we see a similar pattern, that would be great. But what do we have here? Well, it increased a different amount. It was, let's see, I would have to subtract these two. I would have 8 Subtract 1, that would be 4, would be 248. Okay, so we increased 248. Now, another 20, so 20 years passed and it wasn't 167, because we would be able to say if there was a function, well, every 20 years it's increasing 167, but in this case, we're not seeing that. Now let's take a look at the next one. It increased another 20 years, but wow, we have a whopper of an increase here. Okay, it increased, and let's do the math here. If we were to subtract 248 from here, we would have a 3, we would have a 9, and we would have 8. So it would be 8,093. Oh, excuse me, I did that wrong. Let me be 7,993, I believe. Okay. So we now have excuse me. Actually, now that I look at this, it's really should be 7,800 because I did not subtract the 1 up here. This should have been 80. So it's 7,893, more or less, let's just say. Obviously, we need to be precise, but we can see that there really isn't a very clear pattern here. We could go deeper and deeper and maybe look at this as an exponential pattern, but right now, from what we can just derive from this, it doesn't appear to be a very clear function. In fact, there is no function here. It's increasing, but it's not increasing at any particular rate that we can determine. Okay, so at this point, we would say that no, we do not see that there is a formula for this particular function.